Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhouse, and this is episode 152. Today, I want to share with you my very favorite things from 2024. As an influencer, I am continually trying new things that might help with fibromyalgia or just help make life easier and more enjoyable in general. Some of these are things that I have purchased myself because I wanted to try them and I thought that they had promise. Others are things that have been sent to me to try. Regardless, I only share them with you if I really believe in them. This podcast does not take any paid advertising, so if you hear me talk about something on this show, you can be confident that it is something that I actually use and really believe in. Today, I'm going to share my top 7 things from last year, from 2024, the things that I would not want to live my life without, the things that have changed my life for the better over the last year as I've been using them. So if you would like, you can also get a PDF copy of this list of Tami's favorite things, and several of the things on this list do have discount codes. I've worked with the companies to get some discount codes for you that will get you extra perks. So to download that PDF, just go to today's show notes, fibromyalgiapodcast.com/152. All right. Let's dive in. I've got 7 things on my list from this last year, from 2024. And, to be honest, I have so many favorite things. But what I did for this list is think about what are my favorite things that I was introduced to for the first time in 2024. And so I came up with these 7 things. I'm going to tell you what they are, and I'll tell you why I love them. First of all is the Ember Mug 2. I like the 14-ounce one. Now, I very rarely drink hot drinks. Or I should say I used to very rarely drink hot drinks because they're only hot for like 2 seconds, right? They're too hot. And then they're just right for 2 seconds, and then they're too cold. I am such a Goldilocks. And you might be too. Fibro bodies tend to be a little particular. So I just didn't even bother, right? Because it's too hot, then it's too cold, and, now I don't want it, right? This is a smart mug. It keeps whatever is inside it the exact temperature that you want it to be from your very first sip to your very last drop. It even tells you when it has reached your perfect temperature so that you don't burn your tongue. So I know. It's one of my friends called this quiet luxury. Yes, this isn't something that everybody needs, but I tell you what, it has actually made a difference in my life. First, I actually drink a whole lot more water. I drink a lot of herbal tea, non-caffeinated tea, and so it really helps with my water intake, big time. Also, I was introduced to this in the winter. We'll see how this goes in the summer, but during the winter, this really helped with keeping me warm because the tea was always warm. So if you are somebody who struggles with getting your water intake, flavored herbal tea is a great way to go about that. And if you're somebody who struggles being warm, especially in the winter, hot tea can really help warm you up from the inside out. It does link to your phone, so you can adjust the temperature in your phone, but you don't have to use your phone. It actually comes set to 135 as the temperature and will stay at that temperature. It will stay hot. It will keep things hot for about an hour and a half. But if you have the coaster, which it comes with, and you put the mug on the coaster, it will stay warm forever. Like literally, it will stay that temperature until you drink it all. So to give you an example of that, over New Year's, I was at my parents' house. I took my mug with me. That's how much I love it. And I had some hot tea. I was about halfway through the cup and it was time to, go have dinner. We went, we had dinner, we came back. My tea was still hot and I finished the other half. So it's awesome. I don't have a discount code for this, but the PDF does have a direct link where you can find that on Amazon. You can also get it other places. Costco, at least as I'm recording this, has one on sale. I love it. The Ember Mug 2. And like I said, I like the 14 ounce. There is a 10 ounce, but that's just not enough for me. So 14 ounce. All right, number 2 on my list. This is the Perfectly Snug Smart Topper. Now, I'm getting to be that age and not quite in menopause yet, but it's coming. And I do find at night that sometimes I get really, really hot and I throw the covers off, and then I get really, really cold. And then I throw the covers back on and I get really, really hot. And I just do that all night long. It's terrible. So in doing some research, we ran across these smart toppers that are designed to keep you at the perfect temperature, kind of like my tea in the mug. Do you see a theme here? So the smart toppers, you may have seen several of them. There are some that use air and there are some that use water to cool or heat. And there's different ways that they use these things. So we did a lot of research on them. The really popular, expensive one, I won't say any other names here, but there is one I see a lot of ads for. We decided against because it was water and there was a lot of maintenance that you had to do with the water tank. Otherwise, it could grow mold and other things. So you have to clean the tank. And I thought, the likelihood of me doing that or wanting to do that is pretty low. So that doesn't seem like a good idea. Plus, with cats, I don't know how tough the coating is, but the last thing you want is water in your bed that's not a water bed, right? So the water ones were out for us. So that left us with air. And there were a couple of different air topper options, and this is the one we chose, the Perfectly Snug. It is a, about 2.5 inch topper that goes on top of your mattress, and it has a bunch of little holes in it and fans at the bottom, and it blows air in and then out through the holes. And it's a lot like, if you remember back in the day, the air hockey tables with the little holes and the air coming through. It's a lot like that. And it will heat a little bit. It's not awesome at heating, but it cools fantastically. And it just blows that air in. It blows the air up through those little holes. To be honest, I cannot really feel the air so much as feel the fact that it's cooler. You set it to what you want it to be, and then it just keeps you at that temperature. So if you get hot, it cools you off. And if you cool down, it will heat you up a little bit. You can also set in the app, 3 different sort of ranges for what you want it to do. So there's the falling asleep range, there's the waking up range, and then there's the rest of the night in between. So I have mine set to be as warm as possible. The first hour or so after I get in bed, I want that bed to be nice and warm and cozy, or else I'm not going to relax to fall asleep, right? So I want that nice and warm. And then it cools off during the night to keep me at the perfect temperature. No getting too hot, no getting too cold. And then towards the morning, it warms me up a little bit, which helps to naturally wake you up. There also is, for my menopause ladies who are listening, there's also a cold burst option. You poke the button, you hold it down, and that cold burst will run full on cold for 5 minutes and then go back to your normal setting. So it is perfect for those, hot flashes, or you wake up and you just dying, just run that cold burst option. Now, one of the things that I was a little bit worried about with this is, of course, having the topper on my bed and knowing it's got fans in it. It's, designed to let the airflow come through. How comfortable is that going to be? It has sort of this waffle weave on top, and I just wasn't sure how my body would like that. And I will tell you, it has not been a problem at all. It does make my bed a little bit more firm, but I have a Sleep Number bed where I can make it more firm or more soft. So I just adjusted that to compensate, and it is super comfortable. The fans are way down at the bottom. If I stretch my toes way down, I can sort of feel them, but they're so far at the bottom and at the corners that they don't really get in the way and you don't really feel them. So if you are someone who struggles with bed being the right temperature, if you are waking up because you're too hot, this is something definitely to look into. It is not a cheap thing. It was probably about $1,500, I think, total for both sides of our bed. But it really, really has made a difference. So when I look at my sleep apps, my nighttime wake-ups were cut probably in half when I started using this. And as you know, fibro sleep, we're pretty particular. So anything we can do to help with sleep is important. So take a look. And if this isn't the right one for you, you can look at, there's a whole bunch of other smart toppers out there, and there might be another one that's better for you. But this one I picked because it has no maintenance whatsoever, and it cools from the bottom up. So it works even better. All right, that's number 2. Number 3 on my list of favorite things from last year is wide open socks. I believe I mentioned these really recently on one of the other episodes at the end, but honestly, you guys, I have not worn real socks since, oh God, it's probably been 10 years. Because, fibro person, sensitive body, larger feet, larger ankles, right? I do have wide feet. Most socks would start to make my legs hurt or just be too tight around my ankles. And so for the last 10 years, I have been wearing ankle socks with the part around the ankle cut. Because they were too tight, so I had to cut them. And so, cutting your socks, right? I always bought the cheapest ones because I didn't want to ruin good socks. And yeah, it was terrible. So I haven't worn real socks in 10 years until now. Wide open socks are made for wide feet, and they are made for wider ankles, wider calves. So if you have ever struggled to find socks that fit your feet and your legs, this is the answer. These are fantastic. They're made by the Darn Tough Socks folks. So they literally have a warranty that if you ever get a hole in your sock, you send it back to them and they'll send you new ones because they are made to last. They're also made with merino wool, which means that they keep your toes warm in the winter, and it adjusts for being in the summer too. They're not too hot in the summer. Now, fibro is an amplifier. I talk about that a lot. And so something as simple as having socks that are too tight around your legs can trigger fibro pain and can trigger a flare-up. So if you have ever felt your legs hurting, if you feel like your socks are too tight, you take your socks off and there's all these marks around your legs, try some wider socks. I will also say I tried some diabetic socks at one point because they're also designed not to be too tight, but they weren't tight enough. They would just roll around my legs and fall off. It was horrible. These fit like socks should fit. They're just made for wider feet and legs. So wide open socks, they are awesome. Again, our PDF here has a link to where you can buy them on their website, Wide Open Socks. So check those out. They are awesome. They've got some fun colors and things too. Different height socks, ankle socks, cruise socks, all kinds of socks. My favorite are the micro crews. They're tall enough to keep my feet and ankles warm when I'm wearing, pants. I don't have a cold spot there, but they're also not too tall and irritate my legs. So wide open socks. All right, number 4. This one has really like seriously changed my life. I started Hungryroot back in February of 2024. So it's been almost a year that I've been using Hungryroot, and it has totally changed how I eat. I have seen a lot of ads for Hungryroot on Facebook, and it was hard to tell exactly what it was. Is it groceries? Is it like Instacart where they're delivering groceries? Or is it a meal service, like something like HelloFresh or Blue Apron? And the answer is kind of both, actually. Hungryroot is not really a meal service like Blue Apron or HelloFresh, where they send you ingredients and you have to make the meals from scratch. It's actually a better fibro-friendly version of that. So to give you an idea, my very first Hungryroot recipe was a smoked salmon salad. And the directions for the recipe were: open up this bag of salad, put it in a bowl, open up the package of smoked salmon, crumble it up, put it over the lettuce, and eat it. Now, I have had other recipes. Like, one of my favorites is actually a ginger stir-fry chicken pea pods over rice thing. And the chicken is pre-cooked. The pea pods, of course, are fresh, but you just put them in the skillet, warm up the pea pods, warm up the chicken, put it over rice. The rice is the kind you stick in the microwave for 90 seconds. So like the whole thing takes maybe 5 minutes to make. My kind of cooking, I tell you what. I don't mind cooking, like just for enjoyment's sake, but I hate making dinner. I hate the I have to make something because now I have to eat, because I'm usually hungry, right? And so I want to eat like yesterday, but I have to make something. So I end up not eating as well as I should, right? But this has given me a way to eat healthy and actually spend less energy doing it. I can make a Hungryroot meal faster than I could get delivery or go get takeout. It is actually less energy and faster and better for me. So it's got all kinds of groceries you can buy too. So you can buy things as groceries. You can also get things as meals. So it has given me a lot of good healthy snacks, new things that I've tried. A lot of really good, like my favorite yogurt is there now, and protein shakes and ready to eat meals that you just have to heat up, all kinds of things. The thing that I think makes this almost a must for fibro people is that, first of all, you're not spending energy going out and doing the shopping. It comes to you. They don't charge you for shipping. And to be honest, the price of the groceries themselves are pretty equivalent to what you would get at the store. In fact, there have been a couple of things that have been cheaper through Hungryroot than when I found them at the grocery store. So it's very comparable. The other thing is that it saves you all that energy on making meals, right? So like I said, pre-cooked rice that you're just heating up, pre-cooked chicken that you're just heating up, pre-cut veggies, so you're not sitting there chopping vegetables, you just put them in the pan, right? All of these things save us so much energy. On top of that, they're healthier foods. All of their foods are free of artificial sweeteners, which is a must avoid for fibromyalgia. You should not ever have artificial sweeteners. That is definitely going to increase your pain. So all their foods are free of artificial sweeteners. They're also free of high fructose corn syrup. They're free of artificial preservatives. A lot of their foods, not all of them, but a lot of their foods are organic. They have a great gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free options in there. You can eat paleo, you can eat keto, you can do the autoimmune protocol. It has really all the things that we need to eat healthy and save save energy, and sometimes even save money. I will say that this has made a huge difference in our food budget, spending less money on food because it's easier for me to just make things at home with the food that we have on hand versus going out and getting food elsewhere. So Hungryroot, again, has been such a game changer. I've noticed my blood sugar has improved, my cholesterol has improved, like everything has improved. A lot of people, like Hungryroot is not made to lose weight, but a lot of people do lose weight simply because they're able to eat healthier when they use Hungryroot. Now, on our PDF, I do have a special code that will get you $50 off your first order of $100. So I really encourage you to check it out. Like I said, it has been the biggest game changer for my life for the last year. So Hungryroot, it's awesome. Okay. Club Pilates. This is number 5. I have never been somebody who loved to exercise, ever. And I just found myself this week telling my physical therapist, we need to get my vertigo fixed so that I can go to Pilates. And it's the first time ever that I've been like, no, I need to go exercise. And I think part of the reason is that it is Pilates. Now, there are all those jokes out there about the middle-aged white women and Pilates. It's a thing. But let me tell you what Pilates really is. So Pilates was developed by Joseph Pilates. That's why it's called that. And he was not a very well child. So he found that he couldn't do a lot of the things that other kids could do. This might sound familiar to you. And so he developed his own way of strengthening his body in a way that worked for his sicker self, right? Like he was more fragile, he was more often sick. And so he found a way to exercise that worked for him, right? Pilates became popular in the 1920s as a way to help dancers rehabilitate and eventually to prevent injuries. So think about that. It was designed by somebody who was living in a more fragile, delicate body. Sound familiar? And it was good for strengthening and rehabilitating injuries. Also sound familiar? And so it is designed to strengthen your body and restore it to balance. You'll see a lot of different kinds of Pilates out there, but the kind that I'm talking about here is using the reformer. And this is what Club Pilates is. It's a reformer-based thing. And so the reformer, it's a machine, and it helps you focus on strength building and flexibility while lying, sitting, or standing. So it's using things like body weight and springs as weight or counterbalance instead of your own body weight. So many of us with fibromyalgia, we do have weaker bodies. We might be deconditioned from not exercising for so long, and we tend to be in larger bodies, right? We've gained weight because of our inactivity, because of medications. And so those two things combined, heavier bodies, not as strong, means simple things like doing a squat can be really, really difficult because I literally am not strong enough to push my own body weight, right? The reformer changes that. So for using that example of a squat, you lie on your back on the reformer, you're pushing against a bar, and there's springs that are the weight that you're pushing. So you can do a squat with less than your body weight, and it helps you strengthen. Also, you have support, physical support for your body while you are strengthening these things. It's why it makes it so good for the dancers rehabilitating after injuries. You're able to support the weaker parts of your body while you're strengthening other parts, or working with lower amounts of weight to strengthen the broken parts, let's call them, right? So, of course, you do still have to listen to your body. You still may need modifications for different things, but I have found this to be more fibro-friendly than any other type of exercise I have ever tried. Even just going for a walk, I have found this to be more fibro-friendly. And plus, you can, say you're training like a ballerina. So check it out. It is Club Pilates isn't everywhere, but Reformer Pilates, there are those. You can even buy a Reformer. My husband and I have purchased one, so we have one here at home. But it really, like I said, has really made a difference. There are some great people you can follow online. I will link those in today's show notes. If you want to see one in particular, Fat Body Pilates, she is, it's about doing Pilates in a larger body. So there's a lot of really great stuff out there. So that is my number 5, Club Pilates. All right. Number 6. Number 6 is just a fun one. Number 6 is something called BAEBROW. And this is coloring for your eyebrows. So BAEBROW. And I will tell you, during the pandemic, I got really used to not spending time going to the salon, right? I stopped coloring my hair during the pandemic, started to embrace my natural gray color. And I, of course, wasn't getting my nails done, wasn't getting my eyebrows done, all the things. All of that stopped when the world shut down, right? And I discovered that I had hours added back to my life every month by not going and doing all these things. And so when the world opened back up again, it was really hard for me to give that extra time back, right? So like I said, I stopped coloring my hair, but my eyebrows, I felt like my face was just fading away into the background with no color on my eyebrows. And so I discovered BAEBROW. And this is color you can use at home. I use the all caps henna capsules, and you just mix it's a capsule full of powder. You put it in a little bowl, you mix it with some water, you put it on your eyebrows, and then you wash it off in 10 minutes or so. And so I can color my eyebrows while I'm brushing my teeth in my pajamas. Like, I can literally do it and not have it take any extra time as I'm getting ready at night, other than the amount of time it takes to mix it up and wash it off. So I do have a discount code for you for this one. You can get 15% off your first order. There's a link to that in the PDF that you can download in today's show notes. Again, just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com/152 and we'll have all of that there for you. They also have a lot of other like eyebrow care type things. Like I said, I use the all caps henna capsules, but they also have brush on eyebrow color. They've got things to help your eyelashes and your eyebrows grow. They also have like the gel to help keep your eyebrows where you want them. They've got lots of fun eyebrow stuff, but they have been great and I love it. All right. And in case anybody is curious, the color on my eyebrows that I have today is actually the black. And I just left it on for not as long, but I think it matches my salt and pepper hair that's coming on here better than the brown did. So that's in case you wondered. All right. Number 7, and the last one on my list, is an app. This is a computer program, and it is called MacGPT. So you probably have heard of ChatGPT, right? The AI software that you can use for all kinds of fun things. This is actually a computer program that runs ChatGPT on your Mac. Now, this is a Mac software because I do have a MacBook, but if you're using a Windows computer, there's probably something equivalent you could go look for. But instead of having to go out to a website and type things in, it's a computer program. It also keeps everything, like I can have a conversation with it, close the app, reopen the app, the conversation is still there, which is really nice. Okay, so how do I use this? Why is this on my favorite things list? AI can be a huge, huge help for fibro brains, right? We often have brain fog. In case you didn't know this, we often have brain fog. And sometimes we know what we want to say, but we just can't really find the right words or the best way to say it. And so maybe we say things in like 3 paragraphs that somebody with a clear brain could say in 1 sentence, right? Or maybe you have part of an idea, but not the whole picture. Or maybe you just need an extra set of eyes to play editor, right? Like punctuation and spelling and just like how to say a sentence properly. These are some of the ways that I use MacGPT. Now, depending on what you do with your life, this may or may not be a helpful tool, but anybody who is running a business or working in just a work environment, I think this is a must-have. And I will tell you some of the ways that I use MacGPT. So first, the biggest way I use it is just as an editor. So instead of writing something like my favorite things list here and giving it to someone to proofread, I just copy and paste it into MacGPT and say, proofread this for me. And it will make whatever edits. It will fix things if I used the same word twice or whatever edits that need to be made. So that is the way I use it most. I will also often say, make this better. So if my brain is not quite as clear as I would like it to be, I will just go in there and say, what? I'll just like type it out however it comes out, use as many words as I need to use and say, make this better. And it will give me an edited, more succinct, more clear, more understandable version of that information. I used it on my favorite things list, actually, to make all the little descriptions that you will read for each of the items. What I did is I would just write into MacGPT, here's why I love this thing, So even for MacGPT, I said, give me a description for the favorite things list. I need one for while I'm talking, don't I? But I gave all the information to ChatGPT. I'm doing this favorite things list. Here's how I use it. Here's why I love it. Write me a description. And it actually wrote a description. You'll be able to read that on the PDF to kind of give you an example. Our Fibro Wellness Summit that's running in just a few days. Next week, it kicks off. I used ChatGPT, MacGPT, a lot for the summit. I went in and did things like, I want to do a talk on this. And then I would write out what I wanted to talk about and then say, give me a title and a 1-sentence description. And it came up with those. Now, of course, sometimes you have to edit these, but it can be such a brain and energy saver. I always joke that I am a terrible namer. If it was up to me, I would name everything like Friends episodes. The one about fatigue, the one about brain fog, the one about Tammy's favorite things. But in case you've noticed, my titles of episodes are a little more creative than that, and that is all thanks to MacGPT. So if you ever struggle with needing an editor or figuring out what you want to say and have trouble putting it into words, try it out. The app itself, you can actually get for free. There's a suggested donation if you want to donate. I personally love to support these supporters, the developers. So I did make a donation, but it is optional. So you can purchase it for a very low price or use it for free. You can also use ChatGPT for free. So if you go out to ChatGPT online, you can do all the same things I was just telling you about, all online, and it definitely helps. I also will use this just to bounce ideas off of. So I've used it for things like, I have this idea, what would be a good way to implement this idea? And it's given me just like you would have a conversation with somebody in your office. Right? So over there in my chair in the corner, my cat Finn, he doesn't talk back very well, but I can message ChatGPT and say all the things that I would like to have a conversation with somebody about to help me figure out ideas. And it is a great conversation partner. So There you have it. Those are my favorite things that I was introduced to in 2024. These are literally things I use every day. Well, maybe not every day. I don't go to Pilates every day and I don't color my eyebrows every day, but I do use my colored eyebrows every day. And I use the strength in my body that I've gained from Pilates every day. So these are real things. And I'll tell you what, I already have a list started for 2025. I mean, it is really the 8th of January as I record this, and I already have some new favorite things. So stay tuned. This is something that I want to start doing every year because I really do get so many things to try, and I love sharing them with you. Now, if you have anything that you think I should try, I would love to hear from you on that. You can just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com, send me a message through there, and let me know the things that you think that maybe I should try. All right. And if you try any of these, I would love to know what you think about them. Remember, you can sign up for that PDF. Several of the things have discount codes and links to where you can buy them. And if you try any of them, I would love to know how they help you. All right. Now, as we wrap up, I do want to remind you about that summit I was just talking about, Living Well with Fibromyalgia. This is going to run from January 20th through the 31st. It is a completely free event. So go out, sign up for free. It's fibrowellnesssummit.com. We'll also have that link in today's show notes. When you sign up for free, that will give you access to all of the talks. We have made this super fibro-friendly. So every single speaker who is talking during the summit is somebody who has fibromyalgia, and there's somebody who's gotten better. They are 6 of my coaches plus me doing the talks, and we're going to share from our experience all the different things that we have learned, or at least a selection of things that we've learned over the last few years to help you live well with fibromyalgia. Another thing that we've done to make this super fibro-friendly is that it is going to be delivered as a private podcast. The private part means that you do have to go out and sign up. It is not going to show up where you're listening to this right now automatically. You have to sign up to get it. But if you do sign up, it will show up right here in your favorite podcast listening app. So it will be right there for you. The other thing that we've done is that we're only doing one speaker a day, so it won't be super overwhelming like some summits can be. It'll be one speaker a day, real fibro people who have really gotten better, delivered to you in your favorite podcast app so that you can listen wherever and whenever you want. And depending on how your settings are set in your podcast app, I'm not going to take those recordings away from you, but your app might. So check your settings, and if those are set to stay on your phone, then you'll be able to keep those recordings as long as you want. All right. There is also a VIP option with the summit that does give you some extra perks, a bonus class with me, a Q&A with Nick Demas, the director of the fibromyalgia documentary, Invisible. We're doing a screening with him and a Q&A with him, and a Facebook group that you can come hang out with me and with the speakers, with my coaches, and that is going to be only open to VIPs, so it'll be a very exclusive group and a great chance for you to get questions answered and just experience that community that I always talk about. So again, fibrowellnesssummit.com. And if you're listening to this after the summit started, you can still go there and still register for free, and you'll get all the recordings up to that date. I do still have to do some checking on what happens after the event is over. If the event is completely over, you may have missed out. So make sure you sign up as soon as you can. All right. Now I've got this week's listener shout out for you. This is from Sophia in France. I actually just got this note from her just yesterday. And she says, "Dear Tami, I simply love your podcast and website. Since I stumbled upon it in my desperate search for what's been happening to me, it was and still is a lifesaver. I can't imagine how much," let me start that again. You can't imagine how much what you share has given me back some hope and is starting to change my life. I'm profoundly grateful to have crossed your path. You're an inspiration. Thank you so much for that, Sophia. These are the notes that make it worth it for me. I mean, I'm recording this here in my office all by myself. There's no one else here. And so sometimes it feels like shouting into, an empty room, because I am talking in an empty room. And so notes like this are what make it worth it for me. That's how I know that what we're doing is actually helping people. So thank you so much for sending that in. And for you listening, I would love to hear from you too. If the podcast is helping you, go out, write a short review, send us a love note. We would love to hear from you. All right. Well, that wraps us up for today. Again, you can go to today's show notes to get a PDF copy of my favorite things from 2024. It's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/152. And those will have some links in there with discount codes. Some are just links to purchase, but those are all on the favorite things list. And then don't forget to sign up for our summit. It's fibrowellnesssummit.com. And don't forget the 3 S's in the middle. It's a little weird. Fibrowellnesssummit.com. And I'll see you back here next time.